Okay, sir. Hello,
Hey,
Mr. Bornamann.
hello, Mr. Munsell. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I got all dressed up for you today. I have my overthinking shirt on, you know.
Overthinking.
Yeah. If you have a Mac, it's like that color wheel,
Yup,
just churning.
I hate that wheel.
Oh my goodness. I keep buying new computers because I want them to be faster and faster. And then I go back to like an older one and I'm just like, oh my God. Like my office setup is my favorite. Like I have like 43, 32, 32. But at my house, I went on during COVID, I went nuts because we're working from the house and I have an office there, multiple monitors, one huge one up top. But you don't want to just sit in your office all the time. So I made one. There's a video somewhere where I did it on the deck. And
Yeah.
I bought like at the time I probably bought 10 of them, but I like swinging arms for monitors that I could like. Then I finally made one for my bed, and it's like a board. It's like actually an old tray table, and I went to Lowe's and got a pole, like a iron pipe, screwed it on there, and it slides underneath the mattress.
Yep.
So it's got the weight and everything, and it's got another swinging arm. So on my laptop, I can still have two monitors while I'm sitting in bed, like half working, half watching a good show.
That's
I've got
amazing.
nothing. So
That's amazing. I just got the recliner and the TV.
oh god, yeah, like oh my god, we have a Stephen Hawkins picture, somebody in my house sitting in the recliner with the multiple monitors, like nuts.
Yep. Yep.
COVID, COVID, what a good time.
Yes, sir. It
Yeah,
shows its face.
yeah. Oh my goodness, like it's just funny to think back or even look back, you know. And now we got we got the monkeypox going on. Just don't be rubbing your uglies with other dudes. Evidently, it'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
So
whole nother one. They'll keep then after that they'll come up with another one.
yes. Um, So hey, here we are, Jimmy and Johnny show. Hello all. Those of you just tuning in, I was before the show, I was going through the Facebook group, and God, we have a whole bunch of new members, and it's pretty interesting and fun, and lots of clients tune in. We did an open call-in day a couple weeks back, and it was for Pronto Wash, but we did it on this platform, and we allowed people to come and the I don't know if you tuned in, but Stan was there for a while, and we were just answering calls like radio style,
Yep.
and
I
it,
cut the back end. Stan did the front end. I did the back end.
oh, okay, so you gotta be careful, Jimmy.
Monkey, monkey.
So yeah, I was just going through, and it's just we just have a bunch of new members, and so welcome all. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching this later on a different platform. Whatever you need to do, hit the bell, the whistle, whatever it takes. Yeah, just make sure you subscribe, because this is like one of many things that we do with our platform. But I do love this. And I was talking to Stan Weiss, Chief Operating Officer for one of our companies. And I was talking to him earlier, and he was saying, like, he's like, yeah, he often tunes into the show, and he was, just he just loves it. It's just, two old guy operators kind of shooting the shit about real life, and
it's what makes it real. We've been around the block, we've fallen, we've gotten up, we've failed, we've succeeded. It's just giving life lessons to anybody that needs help.
Oh God, that makes me think. So all right, I want to so couple interesting stories, and then we'll get into a couple topics. We'll get into our marketing topic, our operations topic, philosophy, kind of the new format of the show. So I was so I'm constantly on, I don't even know if they're sales calls, what they are, but I'm constantly on the phone. Like I literally all day, every day, I just have appointments being booked. We have really amazing software through Success Systems that allows all that kind of to happen. And every day I come in and it's like, okay, like Russian roulette, like, who am I going to talk to today about what? So I've just had some really, really interesting calls. And there was so part of our system with, Pronto Wash, and with even just, any of our companies, what happens ultimately, and, it's not a funnel per se, but, you get engaged with us, you become, a member or a free member or whatever it is. And we recommend this for anybody, any business, and we use this kind of portal technology. Think of like a membership site if you've never seen it, but it's got lessons, it's got videos, but it's a great way to introduce people to your product and to your service. So, so I had a guy and before I talk to people, I like to make sure that they've gone through and at least seen it, because otherwise I'm just, telling them all the stuff that's in there. So this guy, I talked to this guy and he's like giving me the pitch. Like he's telling me why it's like amazing. And he's like, oh my God, and he got into this whole thing and he like backed himself into a corner and he was talking about how, him and his buddy, 20 years ago thought about doing, mobile oil change, and I'm like, yeah, I've done that, built 150 trucks, and we got into this whole conversation about, if you're just talking about it and it's not like written down, right, then it's not a goal, it's not a plan. It's at that point, I think it's a wish. And I'm a written goals guy. I have written goals. I've made them audible. I think I sent you my voiceover goals that I had done. So every day, somebody, a great British voice, reads me my goals. So like I've always been
watch over you. Oh.
Yeah, it's just like, one of those things, as you wake up in the morning, I'm laying in bed, I'm like, oh, that, just put good stuff in your ear. And lately I went back a little bit, kind of like really old school for me, but I went and started listening to some Napoleon Hill again.
I love that, man.
Oh God, I was on Prime actually, and it was live recordings of him, which is pretty rare, and it's from the 50s. And he worked with presidents and all kinds of stuff. And if you guys don't know the story, but he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. And he spent 20 years, like he was a reporter, and that's how he was kind of paying his way through life. And he had an interview with Andrew Carnegie, right? Biggest steel magnate ever. And Andrew Carnegie put him on like this challenge. So like back in the day, right? Like, these people lived in mansions, and Carnegie's from Pittsburgh area. So like lives out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you took like a horse and carriage for days to get to do the interview. So when you got there, you stayed, right? Like you stayed at their house, and like, it was like an extensive interview type of thing. And by the end of it, Andrew Carnegie had said, hey, I'll introduce you to all these famous business people, Firestone, God, who are some of the other ones?
Probably even the president. Yep.
Yeah, we ended up working with, with Truman at one point, and, all this just crazy stuff. He wrote, I think he wrote Think and Grow Rich while he was working at the White House.
Yep.
So really cool. So these old videos.
First. Yep.
What's that?
In the 17 laws first, and then it got condensed to Think and Grow.
So this thing on Amazon is that it's him, reading them essentially, or delivering them himself personally. He's so awkward.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about a guy doing video, like, long before video was, there was no TikTok and, YouTube, and this guy was putting out videos, a long time ago. But anyway, I got this old video set. It was, I don't know, 11, 12 bucks or something on Prime. And I was like, man, I'm like, so I chewed it up, but it's like one of those things, I'll just pop it on, but he runs through all of that. Like he runs through all of the 17. I think he like skips some, and I think he does that on purpose. It's almost like if you've ever read the book, he always tells you that, if it'll be revealed to you, right? I gotta start using this in my language, like the secret to success will be revealed to you. So it's not on him, right? There's no pressure on him. He's not like, he's just giving you these things and it'll just slam you in the forehead. But they're awesome. And if you guys have never checked it out, check it out. But I mean, oh my God, if that's like if you're in business or ever desire to be in business, it's a book like you have to read. It's just like, it should be on the list. I'll publish my list. Yeah, but it's like first on the list, Think and Grow Rich. And it sounds so hokey, and God, the stories in it are so dated, but I think that's like half the charm of it.
Yep, agree. He's a little
story about a snitch.
Yeah, he is a little hokey, but I tell you what, you get through his southern little voice, it's gold all the time.
Yeah, really, really good. So that was one call, and it was funny because that rang in my brain. And then I had another guy. I was talking to a guy today, and we have all these systems, right? And it emails, it texts, it does all this thing, and like schedules my calls, and and puts him in this portal thing we talked about. Well, I just have not connected with this guy. Like, we have not connected the dots. And so finally today I got him on the phone, and it was like, he started out, I thought I was like in trouble. Okay. So he starts out to go, and then, and I have a little bit of background on him. I know he's in Philadelphia, so I'm sitting there, and I like, he's like, I just want to start off, and I want to tell you. And I'm like, oh God, here it comes. Like my first ass chewing of the day. And he's like, I worked for a company for 20 years. And I'm like, oh, he's going to tell me I suck at follow up or something. And so all of a sudden he's like, and I got to tell you, what you put together is so amazing. It reminds me of that company, and I love that company. And I was just like, Jimmy, I was like, you don't get that. Like, like I know our people put together great stuff, and, I just pour out information, right? Like, one of my big goals is to be like prolific, like be everywhere all the time. And I want people always wondering how the hell we do it. And, half of it is this amazing marketing automation and CRM system that we have that make it amazing. But, I was just really happy to get this just high compliment. And, so of course, he's in Philly, and I'm like, I go, not too shabby for a Jersey boy that went to Drexel, huh? Drexel's in Philadelphia, my alma mater. So it was just funny, like it was immediate connection, him and I, we're just talking through some cool stuff. So those are my sales stories, but it reminds me of like, just, you got to celebrate successes,
whether
like,
they big or small, you have to.
Yeah. I mean, how do we start our weekly call, our leadership call? What do we do? What do we do?
We talk about the successes personally and within business, whether it be last week or the day you're in, but it starts with a positive. I mean,
everybody go around. Nowadays it's Zoom, I guess we go like this, but we just go around the room. It's like, share your personal success, and and a huge one always is, and it's on a Monday, so it's usually right after the weekend, but most people's personal success is around the quality time that they got to spend with their family. Usually that's like in some vein, right? It's like, oh, I got to go do this cool thing with my family, or, I got to hang out and smoke a cigar and hang out with my son, and, type of thing. I know a guy that enjoys that. Yeah. But it just reminds me, like, and things, have always not been great, right? Like if you're in business and you have never struggled, then you have not been in business long enough.
You're still in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, like, and it's funny. It's a Napoleon Hill thing. He's like, there's nobody that's truly successful. If you've never failed, then you're probably not even close to the pinnacle of what you can do.
Yep, you really do have to.
You got to reach for that brass ring, man. Like.
Yeah.
Sometimes you miss it. It's like, oh.
And you fall down, but you always get another ladder rung. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I look at past, and it's funny. Like I'm not one of these guys that has a lot of regrets. Like I can't even think of anything that I truly regret ever doing. My hair getting cut recently was, that's probably the most fresh to mind. Oh my gosh, you went nuts.
I'm still jealous, man.
I lost my curls, man. I
look
that
at you.
haircut. But I think back, Jimmy. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. Little history on the show, and Jimmy and I, the show essentially started with Jimmy and I just shooting the shit. We were competitors in the same industry. I had Restaurant Success System, and you had
Restaurant Cash Cows.
Yeah, Restaurant Cash Cows, and our VIP program. And it's funny because, again, like we're competitors, but we used to talk all the time. And one of the things we figured out is some people like my voice, some people like his voice, some people like his ideas, and and when you get it all together, here we are, years and years later.
Amazing years.
Yeah, and it was, I remember that was like a cancer. You're like talking me through cancer and stuff. Like, 10 years in remission, by the way, almost. I have an anniversary coming up.
That's awesome. And I was deep in my Lyme disease. I was battling really hard just to stay alive.
I'm gonna change the intro to the thing. A bunch of sick old dudes. Yeah, we both have had major. I mean, those are like personal setbacks, right? Those are like, that's another one. Like, if you're young in business, you're never ready for everything. right? 2008 financial crisis, right? I got 4 restaurants, a huge catering company, and like, you know, people like weren't spending money. Yeah. It's like, what do you do?
Yep. Yeah, even back in 08, we had ended up losing a house. We ended
Yeah,
up,
it's like,
getting out of the restaurant business and starting a consulting company on absolutely nothing because there's nothing left.
like Jimmy and I used to pass like $150 back and forth to like pay each other's light bills. Okay, you get it this week.
I got you. Hold on a second.
It's funny, you know, when you look back at it. So just a little bit of Napoleon Hill, you know, mental stuff for you guys today. But you know, it's always darkest right before the dawn, right?
Yep, and the storm will always end. Is it? It's never. At some point, it'll stop raining.
Yeah, I mean, God, we went from that. You know, I went and built Spiffy, right? Then I go and be the president of the IDA, and then you know we do success systems, and then all of a sudden we're doing Pronto Wash, and like here we are, huge franchise development company doing all kinds of cool stuff. So I don't know, it always gets better. I don't, again, it's one of those things I think about because there's suicide, right?
Yep.
So veterans, a lot of veterans. We have a really funny thing, like not funny and the veterans commit suicide, but we have a thing that we do all the time. Whenever it comes up in a conversation, like we do 22 push-ups. Like it's just a thing we do. It's the old push-up challenge, and we still do them all the time. Like yesterday, I was doing push-ups, like because somebody mentioned it. I'm like, okay, like I guess I got to do it.
Nice.
But here we are, things always get better, but I could never imagine the thought of like, oh, like I'm gonna not be here any longer. Like, I'm getting older and I can feel it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to be here forever, but God, to think that, somebody that takes their own life and then all the stuff that they could have done and they never will know about, like it's always gets better, guys. I don't care how dark it is, it always gets better.
Yep. And I guess my parting thing on that is you just don't stop. I mean, you can take a pause, you can reflect, but you can never give up. You can fall down, you got to get back up. You just can't stay down long. Because once you lose momentum and forward motion, you're
yeah, like, I'm going to flip around our agenda and go into like, so I threw a principle of philosophy out there today, and it's, it's developing a culture of change. Okay.
Yeah.
That which does not grow dies.
Yes.
Individuals and organizations that view change as threatening will not be able to compete in the marketplace. Only by experimenting with new ideas that inevitably evolve through delegation and empowerment will we succeed in growing in new ways. Like that's real. Like you have to keep moving forward, right? Not straight, forward.
Forward. You can do this. Some of my favorite memes on the old book of faces is, people think success is a straight line, but it looks like spaghetti.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah. I still love your line. It's like, everybody thinks we're an overnight success, but it's been like 10 years of overnights.
Exactly. Yes. We've done our share, that's for sure.
Yes. Okay, so let's jump into topics now. So the I'm going to talk, it's marketing topic, business topic, I don't know what it is, but the one of the big, it's a strategy, I guess, so I always talk about where an owner needs to position themselves. Okay. Yep. And this is like one of those things that like you can work in your business or you can work on your business. Okay. Yep. And yes, I come to the office every day and I'm in the business, but I'm always working on the business, right? I'm not necessarily, yes, am I on the phone? But it's, it goes back to you can't do $10 an hour work, right? Slice and dice and chopping and expect to make, 100,000 or more a year. Just the math doesn't support it. So, I always talk about, like, I believe the owner's roles is, one is legal, like hands down, right? Like you're the legal and really protecting your business and making sure that all of that stuff is buttoned up. Then you have like, financials, financials and the financial management of the company is ultimately falls on the owner's shoulders. But I really think the most important is you should drive the marketing of your business. Like in every one of us, like, because again, the legal doesn't take all day, the financial doesn't take all day. But the one thing that you should put the most amount of time that you get the most juice from your squeeze, right? The biggest lever you can pull, is marketing. What else can you do? I can manage the legal, and yes, I protect myself, but I really didn't grow the business through that per se.
Yep.
I can count the beans, right? But the beans need to be there for me to count them.
All right.
But in marketing, like, you can do things in your business every single day that grow the beans, create more legal problems. But that's the spot, right? Like, and everybody who owns a business, even if they're not good at it, right? Everybody has a skill set. So you always lean on your skill set, but you also need to learn other skills. And most people, like, they've never been into marketing, or they see it, right? What do? They copy other people's marketing. And I always like poo-poo that concept, because you don't know what that marketing works.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, marketing is math. So
great
like,
statement.
I can put in, think about Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, right? I know I can put $1 in and I'm going to get 4 back, right? So I'm like, so I know that. And like, so it's the old adage, like, keep putting money in, right? You got a good mail campaign, buy more stamps. So,
right.
But it's all of that. And again, like, there's a huge wide world and range in marketing, right? We just mentioned 3 things. None of those are simple, easy. They get easier in time, but and I'm not saying you have to do it, like, meaning, so you should control the marketing. But if you're there and now you're back in the role of like the clerk, or and you're actually doing like the hamster wheel work, like, you're not going to get there either. But you can come up with the concept, you can delegate it, you can create the vision, you can push that forward, you can kind of beat it down the street. One of my favorite things is, just keeping everybody on pace, right? We have an incredible pace around here, and it's because I push. And so those are the things that I think people need to make sure that they understand, and that they get a really good grasp of. And again, it was funny. I was talking to Stan today, and he was telling me he was in a meeting, and he's like, you're not going to see Jonathan. Like, it's just like, I'm here. Like, he's the operator, right? So he's like, I'm here on the ground, and he's like, Jonathan is like the marketing guy. Like, and you know what, and it's a location that we want more marketing. And he's like, you know what? He goes, and he wants more marketing. Dan is always protecting me. I love it. Yeah. So
one
what
of
else you got? So
one of the things that we've seen in our clients, Jonathan, you're talking about the clerk mentality and the store mentality, or the owner mentality, is you'll do the marketing, you'll get it going, but then they got to pull back and do the work because they don't delegate it, and then they fall behind, and they got to do a little bit more marketing, and they're wondering why they can't seem to get ahead, and they're burned out because they do this old methodology that just doesn't work. I mean, you've got to have somebody like you that has the vision, and then somebody like me that implements it, and somebody like Kim who pulls the triggers and the levers. You just got to have that. You just can't run that cycle. I mean, it fails. It'll fail.
Well, it's like we said, your marketing is math. So at the end of the day, is the math working? Or you getting the bang for your buck is part of it, but it's also like, you got to spend money to make money. That is like a reality. And when you look at some big companies, and people look at what they spend on an ad, or what they've spent in their marketing budget. Well, again, if you can get 4x, on your money by what you're spending in marketing, it's probably pretty good. If you're spending just a crap ton of money and not getting anywhere, then it's not good.
No, you got to pause.
The old Barnum Bailey, right? 50% of my marketing works and 50% doesn't. I can only figure out
if I knew what shit was,
exactly. I could stop doing it. Yeah. So, and again, so math in general, like, so business is math, right? So, the old KPIs. I remember being young, and like, you hear these like things, key performance indicators, metrics and all, but until you're like doing it and you get it, right? I remember like always, I was like, oh, I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to do it. And then, you get there and you're like, God damn,
the hell was I thinking?
I don't know shit. Or I certainly don't know what I I knew the management side. This is true story, actually. You know, I could manage the crap out of restaurants. Like we're talking cranking, big, busy restaurants. All the restaurants at Lincoln Center in Manhattan, you know, just cranking busy and year over year, just grow. Well, you know, there's a difference between being that guy that can pull that lever compared to the guy that's pulling that and adding the next location and managing staff and chefs and, you know, everybody across the whole board. It's a difference. And, you know, I empathize with anybody who's, you know, made the transition. You know, I love it when people like, oh man, I'm such a good cook and my family, they all tell me I should own a restaurant. I'm like, Jimmy, you had to become a millionaire in the restaurant business.
Start with 5.
It used to be start with 2, but you might not be wrong. Yeah, it's a tough business, you know, and like, you know, you gotta have some money to make money. You got to spend money to make money. And one of the things, and I see it all the time. I mean, I talk to people that have franchise aspirations, and I'm talking about franchisees, and you know, they're taking it all, you know, and they're like coming forward, and you know, I tell them, you know, a lot. I'm like, you know, like just make sure you just back yourself up. Like it's a business and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We announced me as the CEO of the company at Prano Wash, and like I got COVID, and COVID hit the world like days later. Yeah, so you don't know. Like, so I hate it when I see somebody in their, you know, they're liquid for 100 and it's going to cost them 100. I'm like, come back to me, like, you know, go shore up some other things to make sure that you have the wherewithal, because you never know what's going to happen.
We've ran into this many times where restaurants that we've opened for folks or businesses we've opened for folks, they'll get it all the way up to that end and then they rush it to get open and they're out of money at the end, and they hope that the cash flow coming in will help finish the build out and everything along those lines. Well, 30 days into it, the honeymoon's over and now you've got more debt. It's just a horrible experience when you're not capitalized enough to make it out past the honeymoon. I mean, it's just.
I bought 2 restaurants that way.
Shit happens.
I bought 2 restaurants that way. You know, they like these folks, they built 2 restaurants simultaneously because they signed a franchise agreement. And, you know, so then like literally 2 construction projects, 2 openings all going on simultaneously, you know, and it's just like, and there weren't restaurant people. So like, here they are. And it's like I would have trouble with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would have trouble with it. And I've opened like, you know, hundreds of restaurants. So I'm like, and I scooped up their restaurants. They got to the finish line and they got them built and they were beautiful, but they couldn't go any further. Like that was the reality of it. It was like, sorry for your luck. Thanks. You know?
I kept using to tell the owners' wives, you don't need that $500 lamp. Okay. It's pretty, but you need a $12 lamp because you're going to need that $40 to pay a bill. It's like, you don't have to go overbuild these things.
Yeah. Oh no, they're going to be rich someday. They're going to be rich. Right. We start this business. We're going to be rich someday. Yeah, honey, it's not. I know you're purchasing an acquisition right now. Go easy, will you? Used to be the title for my ex-wife.
Yep. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. So really, really good topics. What else you got going on? What do we got coming up?
Well, we've got that interview coming in with the telecommunication guy.
Yeah, I got Norman coming up. I got to get him on the schedule. He tried to book on like a Sunday, and I was like, not having
it. Yeah, and I think we're lining up another special interview with another operator. I thought I saw something coming up on that, but another special operator.
Yeah. So yeah, we had some cool stuff coming up, and you know, lots of neat stuff. We're getting towards the end of the month, and God, you know, it's August 24th, Jimmy. Like,
where'd the whole year go? I feel like I'm so far behind, and then I'm looking at the next 4 months or 16 weeks, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, again, another great show. I love you, brother. The again,
Peace out.
if you haven't tuned in before, tune in. We're keeping it light. We're keeping it moving these days. So make sure you hit that button, whatever it is that says subscribe. You know.
Yeah, join the Facebook group if you need it, if you're not already in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
See you on
I love you,
YouTube.
man.
Love you. See
I
ya.
am out of here. Good
Have
seeing
a
you.
great day.
Thanks, everybody.